Hello viewers, it's Cynthia Michael from Screen Review, bringing my 717 podcast. This is my 717 podcast. Like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand me. Also, I try to do my best not to preach around during this audio podcast recording as well, not to cause any audio feedback as well. And finally, if you're under 18, that's audio podcast recording pertaining to adult language. If you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, that needs to watch this audio podcast recording. Now, with this and everything else at the way, let's get into the topic of Kamen Rider Gavv. So basically, recently the Kamen Rider Gavv series had wrapped up, and I gotta say, I really liked the whole concept of using snacks or the whole Woody Wonka thing going along in Gavv and whatnot. Basically, that's what it was. That's what I believe that Gavv is pretty much what the whole idea of snacks. Kind of using snack items like potato chips and all that, was kind of inspired by Willy Wonka and Alice in Wonderland or something like that. But, it is what it is. So basically, I did like the characters in Gavv. I liked the writers. I liked the bad guys. But I just feel like they could have really they could have expanded on the snack items like muffins, mochi and whatnot. So basically, they just stuck with candies and some basic genetic junk foods like potato chips and whatnot. So basically, they're more than the potato chips. I feel like they could have made some goshi based off of fast food like a hamburger or a hot dog and whatnot. So basically, I feel like they could have expanded the goshi that is the main gimmick of Gavv. I wish they would have done a rider based off a hot dog, or a Kamen Rider based off a hot dog, or a Kamen Rider based off a hamburger or whatnot. Do something with that, bring in the fast food, add to the Goshi Hill category, because we had snacks basically like potato chips and whatnot, ice cream and pudding and pudding, jello and parfaits are considered dessert, and candy is just considered candy like chocolate lollipops and whatnot, and cake are also are kind of dessert. So basically, we didn't really see. I felt like we didn't really get to see a pie Goshizo form or a pie Goshizo, we didn't see Gavv or none of his writers transform by using a pie Goshizo or a muffin Goshizo throughout the series, or maybe I would like to see a hamburger Goshizo appear for the series. And also, I felt like the series did had some good female characters in the series as well. But basically the main writer girl, the main girl who's been by Gavv's side, I felt like even though she was older, I felt like this was going to be an open shut case that most likely she is going to be the female writer of the series. So basically, this is like the first time in the Wary era that any of the Wary this is marked the first time in any of the Wary area Kamen Rider series that we don't have a female writer. So basically, I felt like there were two, there were like Liz and Sachi, who's been the female companion of the oldest female companion by Gavv's side. Could have been a Kamen Rider or Liz, who was Liz, the last new character that was introduced in this series, could have been the female writer of the series as well. But if they probably gonna do some, whatever. Usually they do a movie. Usually once a Kamen Rider series ends, usually they do a movie or a special. Based off the characters, whatnot. And so basically, I feel like Liz might become a Kamen Rider maybe in a future movie or a special or a special. But I feel like the main point of the series is that sometimes be dealing with sometimes you can't pick the family, and sometimes you can't pick the family that you're born in, but you can't pick the family that you're born in, but you just either you do. Sometimes you can't pick. I feel like when it comes to Gavv, him and the siblings, didn't reach. He was kind of isolated from his siblings most of the time. I feel like Gavv didn't really pick the family. Like if Gavv would have had the opportunity to spend time with his siblings, maybe he would have got maybe we would have seen some maybe we would have seen some better progress about the series. Maybe that maybe that if Gavv would spend more time with his siblings, maybe they would have a relationship, maybe they could have found a way to set things right and whatnot. But it is what it is. So basically, what I'm trying to say, Gavv was a solid series. So basically, it's like watching the Willy Wonka version. It's like the Kamen Rider version. It's like the Kamen Rider version of Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. So basically, that's all I got to say. So anyway, what do you guys think about the Kamen Rider Gavv series? Good, bad, or just okay? Please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, signing off from Screen Review 1.